We thank Allah for this great opportunity, and may Allah inshallah bless us that whatever we learn inshallah from the maktab and the madhab of Ahlul Bayt, we'll be able to use them and apply them inshallah into our daily lives. The second pillar and principle of Islam after Tawheed is what? Justice of Allah, Idalah, right? And that is specifically the pillar of our mazhab. Specifically because we have other madhahib, other sects that they believe in different, version of attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As Shia, we believe specifically in the Idalah and justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the other one, as you know, is Imam, that we add into this. So, when Allah has an attribute, it is important for us to look at it and to try to practice that attribute. Technically, anyone that you will praise in this dunya is because they have a kind of attributes of Allah, some portion of that attributes of Allah. For example, if you see someone, you describe your friends. I want to ask Brother Ihsan, for example, Ihsan Kazmi. So if you have a good friend, how do you describe them? What kind of characteristics they have that you say is a good friend?
Caring.
Ahsan. He is a very caring person. He's a kind person, right? The kindest one is who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You see, he is very generous. He's very supportive, right? Any good attributes you find in this dunya, you find the best and the ultimate quality of that attributes in who? In Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go anything good. That person, mashallah, my friend, is very knowledgeable, right? Very knowledgeable. Who is the most all-knowing? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? That person, mashallah, he is very rich. The richest one is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you can put it that. So, again, we have to practice that. When we talk about the idalat of Allah, the justice of Allah, when we say Allah is what? Is just. Adil. It is not something specifically only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's some attributes only for Allah, right? But most of the other attributes, we have to practice them as well. When we talk Allah is all just and is, whatever He does is based on justice, we have to look at that in our daily life to see how much of that attributes we have as well. With other things, kindness, generosity, ilm, anything else that we have to do the same, right? Topic of justice. How many of you guys had a lecture and you heard a lecture about this topic, justice? Raise your hand. Really not a lot, right? It's specifically about justice, right? And what is justice then? The second pillar of our Islam, our madhab, religion, and specifically madhab al-Shia is what? Is idalat. To show the importance of this topic, if you look at any dictators in this world, if you tell them that you are not a just person, you're an unjust person, who says you're insulting me? No, I am unjust. I'm a very just person, right? Anyone who is doing, and that is a very old topic from the beginning of this world, the creation of this world, this topic was there either in the individual scale or social scales all the way today, and it will be at the end of the time. That whoever you find, they want to show them as a just person. In a smaller scale as in a family, or bigger in a company, as employee, as employer, and in a bigger scale, which is a society, right? So, when it comes to religion, do you think we have different types of justice? That one justice is a Christian justice, is a Jew, belong to Jewish people, is it about Muslim? Is it different type of justice we have, or no, we have one kind of justice? It's one, right? It might be practiced differently, but originally there's one justice that we have, right? So do you think we have to go to people or to religions or to other organizations to ask them to define what is justice for us or what? Because nowadays, when any country you go, their constitution, their claiming is based on justice, right? We tried our best to make it as just as possible, right? So who should we go to? To the most modern countries to learn about justice? Apparently what they're trying to do, they're trying to observe the rights of everyone, right? Any citizen of the society, they're trying to say disabled, not disabled, they have to have the same justice, right? So who should we go to? When you go to some countries and some people, they said we have to look at modern countries to find justice, right? Look what they're doing in the social justice. Where is the source that we have to go learn from those people about justice?
Saudi Arabia.
MashaAllah, very good.
Very good.
Who else beside them? Beside them, who else is in your mind? Sisters can participate as well. What is that source that we have to learn about justice? Who should define for us what is justice?
Just leader.
What is it?
Just leader.
A just leader. Okay, that's one answer. Who else? Holy Quran. So, what Imtiaz, who would teach the just leader what is just and just being just? Because I can be the leader of this society and I can say justice is based on my interpretation. Another society, a leader who comes and says, no, according to me, justice is this way, right? So what is that one united source of justice then?
Religion or God?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to people, human beings, we all have different interpretations from justice. Even your houses, look at that. A father, you as a father, as a mother, you justify your parenting and you say this is based on the justice, you know? I'm a father and this is the best for my family. Your friend comes and says you are actually doing what? You're oppressing your family, right? You heard about this. Another friend comes and says this is not right. No, this is based on that. Go to the culture. Your culture might do something, let's go with parenting for example, right? That you think is based on justice. Another culture comes and says, this is so much. No, we don't agree with that. You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to human beings, they can come up with some ideas about social justice or justice in general, but this is not the ultimate version. Who should define for us specifically what is justice? Only one source, and that's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're going to prove it. Right? Just a claim, we're going to prove it what we mean by that. How many types of justice do you think we have? What comes to your mind when I say justice in your life? What kind of aspects of your life you think about justice? In general, what comes to your mind? What aspects of your life you should deal with justice?
In your marital life.
In your marital life, what else? Give me the categories. Abbas. Money, you should be just in money. What category is that?
Inheritance.
Okay. What else?
Your earnings.
Earning. Okay.
Social justice.
Ahsan. One category is social justice. Let's put in bigger categories, right? One category is social justice. We're going to deal with that. So meaning what? Our interactions with other people, our interactions with some organization, other with the society. And another category is what?
Legal.
What is it?
Legal justice.
Personal, individual justice, right? For ourselves. What you're talking about, mostly family and stuff like that, it can be interpreted as individual.
Political.
Political is social. We put it in the society, right? As a social aspect. So, when it comes to Allah's justice, we have to see what Islam has, what religion as the most complete version of religion Islam has for both of these aspects, which is individual and social aspects of our life. Allah Himself, He created everything based on justice. Quran says, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, الَّذِي خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ. When Allah created you, everything is on its own place and at the right time and the right place. Imagine you have two eyes beautifully next to each other, right? Imagine if you had one eye here, one eye here. It wouldn't be justice. If you had one eye on the back. If you had one ear, when you wanted to listen, you should always do this, right? if you had your mouth, for example, on the backside, on back of your head, when you wanted to eat, you wouldn't see what you're eating. So that justice means what? Everything at its own place. And the right time, right location, everything is beautiful right now. Allah created everything in the best way. Look at, we have the sun, we have moon, we have the sky, we have the gravity, we have vegetables, we have food, we have water, everything that you need, and the right time, right location, everything is set for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Even a baby when it's in the mother's womb, right? How Allah would develop that baby comes step by step. It's all based on justice that comes, right? So there's nothing wrong from Allah's side. Any time you see injustice in the society or in the nature is at the time that an unjust person entered that place. Anywhere in the forest among animals that you don't see an unjust people or people in general, we see that animals are fine. Anytime human beings enter, some animals will suffer as well, right? Any place that human beings are suffering is because an unjust person or country is oppressing them, right? Otherwise, if everything is based on justice, why people are... If you see poor people in a society, it's because the money financially is not based on justice. Some people are rich. Some people are poor, right? The money is not distributed based on justice. That's why we have some people are suffering. Not because Allah created them this way. Not because they're less fortunate, because Allah doesn't give them enough. Because they're living in a society that people are oppressing each other. You see what I'm saying? And we are human beings. We are with free wills. We can do whatever we want. So Allah says, go build your society. I gave you the best manual as a religion to create a good society, but it's up to you to follow it or not. Does that make sense so what I'm saying, right? So, when it comes to financial aspects of a society, we claim that in a society, right, we have to prove it. In a society, some people are poor, some people are very rich. That's not based on justice. So what is Islam's opinion and suggestion based on that? How to fix it? We claim something, we have to defend it. Khums, ahsan, one part of it. Whatever you do, if you have income, 1/5 of your money should go to these people. That one part of it is for poor people, right? Imagine if everyone in a society pays khums, just khums, forget about other charities and stuff, just khums and goes to poor people, we shouldn't have any poor people in this society. Besides that, what else we have? Zakat, we have ahsan. We have zakat al-fitra, right? You were healthy, you fasted the whole month, you have to pay for it. Who is the one who gets? It should be a mu'min, faqir, and poor people to get, right? Another one. What else we have? Sadaqah, ahsan, sadaqah. Keep encouraging people that whatever you can, give sadaqah, charity. On the other side, we help you, we give you sabab. If really people were only and only following Islamic recommendations on financial aspects, we wouldn't have any poor. This is based on justice. You see what I'm saying? The reason that people are suffering because they're not following the rules and regulations. Make sense so far? So, therefore, Allah, He Himself created everything based on justice. He's the ultimate just person. And He wants us, the closer you get, sometimes some people come and ask me, even sisters, you know, has Zahra Samaraiha, she presented this lifestyle for us as women. But it's difficult for us to follow it. What should we do? I'm like, that's the ideal. It's up to you how far and how close you want to be to that lifestyle. It's up to us. We create a situation for us that we say, it's very difficult that I don't give iPad to my children. They're going to make a lot of noise. So it's up to you. What kind of lifestyle you want to create for your children that they are dependent on TV and iPad and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? It's up to you how much you depend yourself on social media or your devices that says, without this we can't live. So based on that. The individual justice, let's review a few options about individual justice. First of all, while I'm talking, I want you to evaluate yourself right now. Are you a just person or not? How dare you to say? Are you, based on you yourself and Allah right now?
You claim.
You claim, ahsan. We all claim. anyone, remember we said even dictators, you tell them you're oppressing your people or other people. No, I'm not. It justifies 1, 2, 3. But when you're all alone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, do you find yourself to what, you can be all just for sure, none of us, right? To what level we're just? How much you are oppressing people? Look at yourself from all the connections that you have with other people in the society, with some people in the community. Number one, with your own family, children, right? With your spouses, with your in-laws, with your extended families. First we go with the family, right? And then go at work. How much you are observing justice over there. All these aspects. While I'm talking, I want you to evaluate yourself and let's think about your justice right now. Where have you questioned that what I did, was it okay or not? The way that you even talk, was it okay or not?
No, it depends on the interpretation and understanding of God's justice. So otherwise, when somebody is claiming that I am doing justice, it's my understanding that I am doing right.
We said, where should we get that version?
Yeah, that's where you from the God. That understanding is the problem.
You're right, that's true as well. Someone says, no, this is good for my family. We go with the recommendation of Quran and traditions. It says what? For example, it says, if you are oppressing, violating the rights of your families, nothing would make Allah in wrath more than that. When it comes to parents, it says, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا Oof, that's the ultimate justice. So if you do whatever after that, you get away from justice. You see what I'm saying? Everything, financially. I know my responsibility, homes, zakat, blah, 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 charity. If I'm not doing, I know I'm getting away from that. You see what I'm saying? Interactions with others. Al-mu'minu bushruhu fi wajhih. Mu'min, his happiness, her happiness in the face, وَحُزْنُهُ فِي قَلْبِهِ. And the difficulty is sadness in their heart. When I come to you, it's not just that I frown at you because I had issue outside. It might be difficult for me, but Islam says, be nice with other people, husn khulq, right? You might have difficulties, but it's not their fault, your family's fault. You see what I'm saying? But you're right, interpretation are different. Some people says Islam says we have to have a good interpretation with that as well. So, individual justice is that the first one, وَإِذَا قُلْتُمْ فَعْدِلُوا وَلَوْ كَانَ ذَا قُرْبَى. The first thing is that you have to observe justice in different aspects of your life. This is what Islam says. It started with yourself. You have to observe justice. Don't expect too much from yourself. Don't push yourself too much to do something, to go out of the justice, right? Technically live in a balanced life. You have to have fun. You have to have time for education. You have to have time for ibadah. You have to have time for your family. This is justice. Justice means it's a right time and right place. You see, I'm sitting here, right? It's okay if I'm sitting in the middle of this table, right? What if I sit? You see, it's not right. Something is wrong, right? This is not justice. Right? It's not okay. I have to be sitting here, right? Imagine you're sitting here, I go sit all the way on the backside, and you're looking this way. That's not justice. Everything at its own place. In my life, is everything at its own place? It can be different, right? You might need to work, for example, 45 hours per week. I need to work 46 hours per week. Someone else needs to do 35, right? Based on our life. But in my life, how can we interpret it? How can I interpret that I have a balanced life or not? Tell me. Which leads to is it justice or not? Is it justice or not? How do you evaluate your life to see if it's based on balance or not?
You ask other people's opinions.
What do you mean?
Your spouse can tell you if you're living just right or not.
What if your spouse says whatever you do that's not enough? You have to spend a lot of time. Right? Sometimes you spend enough time, says no, that's not enough, you spend more. Yeah. So then what should we do then? To evaluate this individual justice in our daily life. That can be one aspect of marrying each other, telling each other if you're doing good or not. If if you're living in balanced life or not. Even younger ones, they can say, what you're studying, is it in a balanced scale or not? How should I analyze? You should know. You should analyze your life every day to see if you're living in a balanced life or not. How do you evaluate it? Brother Zahir? I know you guys. It's still working on it, mashallah.
If we are fulfilling our basic necessities and requirements and doing that.
What is that basic necessity and requirement?
Like suppose if I eat one time a day, not necessarily every 5 times a day, or the food wise or to satisfy. There are many categories. We are looking for the financial or the social one. Otherwise,
tell me with the family.
the family wise also.
So if some people says I'm paying, I'm bringing money to my family, so what else they want?
That money is enough to fulfill their requirements like education, living, clothing, all these are the basic necessities of the life.
I think there should be some certain standards where you can compare yourself to, just to see that if you are leading the life the way you're supposed to, there should be some certain set of standards that you put yourself. That standards could be through your own religion. You can set up your own goals and see if you're meeting those goals.
Sisters, when do you figure out that you are out of balance? That you're not just yourself? I mean, they are always just, mashallah, right? And just possibly, if that happens. Any ideas?
Maybe if you have some regrets,
Regrets? What do you mean?
later on you realize you should have done it differently. It's something inside you that can...
Let me give you a short definition, an easy way of understanding. If you find any issue in any aspects of your life, that means that part is out of balance. If you see you have a problem with your family, in reality, not that they're quiet or not saying, right? If you see in your relationship with your spouse, there's some issues, they're complaining, you're not spending enough time with us, you're out of balance there. You see? If physically you're getting sick, you might be physically out of balance there. You're not spending enough time to exercise, right? Financially you have some issues, that might be because you're out of balance. Okay? If you don't find any issues, with this definition that people are not ignoring the problem and being quiet. Because sometimes in the family, because they know there's not going to change, they keep being quiet and ignore the fact. That's not what we're talking about, right? You say, no, your spouse comes and says, you're not spending enough time with me. We don't have enough. Complaining. That means what? Something is wrong here, right? I need to work on my justice here. Either one of these things. This is not one of those requirement, necessity things that I have to provide. So I have to look at that. Islam comes and says you have to keep evaluating yourself to see if you're just or not. In your individual life, with yourself, if you're not spending enough time to sleep, you don't have enough hours to sleep, there's out of balance. You say, oh, I'm working until 1 a.m. and I sleep only 3-4 hours. This is out of balance, this is out of justice. Easy.
Certain things can be scaled and particularized, but certain thing is not. The desire is never-ending things. So that's why the...
What kind of desires?
Any desire, anything, any form.
Well, Islam has, Islam has
The scaling is not, it is up to ourselves that if we feel that satisfy, alhamdulillah, that's what is the scale.
Ahsan. But Islam comes and tells us the limit. Islam comes and says, desires, you want to earn a lot, more and more, right? Islam comes and says, qina'ah, contentment. First, you be satisfied with what you have, and then work on, inshallah, if you're not violating other sections' rights, then you can earn more, right? I said one of the easiest way of measuring. This is not the total way, you know? Yeah. But if you really want to go to the details, you have to spend more time, evaluate your life in general, go ask people, as you guys said, individually, do you think it's enough or not? Specifically, friends can help you a lot to tell you this as well. Islam, it tells us everything you have to have justice, individually. The way that you walk, the way that you look at each other. I said that once. Rasulullah says, it was one of the recommendations to one of the judges that came to him and says, you have to look at all parties when you have your judge, you're judging them equally. If you're giving lectures, I can't just look at him and don't look at them, right? I know, mashallah, you look very good, but it's not just you, right? I have to keep distributing my look at everyone. This is justice as well. In muhabbat, kindness to your children, you have to observe justice as well. You heard what happened to Yaqub and Yusuf. He went a little bit out of that side, and he loved him because he was the imam, he was the prophet, right? Well, look what happened, the whole chaos that happened. You know what I mean? So that's very important here. Go ahead.
How accurate could be the self-assessment or self-analysis? I mean, if the self-analysis is always correct, then there shouldn't be any problem.
You're right. It's not all about us. Number one, we analyze ourselves. Second, talking to other people, seeing their satisfaction as well. So if I'm dealing with my employer, right? Are you satisfied with me? No. You have to do more. Okay, so it's about me, I'm doing enough. But him, her says, no, that's not enough. My family, do you think that's enough? Yeah, mashallah, it's good. Alhamdulillah, we're good so far, right? All of us. Father, do you think as a son, as a daughter, I'm doing good or not? Yes, mashallah, work on these aspects. That's how we go check ourselves. We go to the doctor, what do you say? How's my health? Blood test, right? It says no, your cholesterol is high. So that's out of balance. You know what I mean? So that's how. It's not just you because you're right. Sometimes it goes to self-interpretation. No, I'm good. All those dictators were all good. Look at the people. Look at your folks that are complaining against you, right? That's how we do. Did I answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Islam, how justice is. Islam says, I am going to prohibit alcohol. Should I come and says, horrible, get away from it, don't touch it? Oh, Islam says, first of all, when I come to a society, it's a social version, I have to go slowly and slowly. I can't expect people to get away from everything that was part of their life, part of their financial industry, just keep it away. First come and says, for example, in Quran, 3 different sections and the stages and time that was prohibited, right? First come and says, for example, by the way, be careful, don't do that. When it comes, is when you're praying, get away from it. Ultimately, it comes and says, no at all. It's preparing the society. Why? Because they're making money out of it. Because they're so used to that, right? The same way that you need biryani, for example, sometimes they had it at the sofa, sometimes they're coming, right? So, you pull it out quickly, people cannot accept it. That's not justice, right? And then at the end, what the Quran says, there are some benefits in it. How just is it? This is Quran, holy Quran. Why are you saying there's some benefit? There's some benefit in it. But it's more harmful than helpful. Amir al-Mu'minin says, Ali alayhi salatu wasalam, he says that if physically doctors tell you, you have to drink blah, 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 then you have to, that's fine, but wallahi, there's no shafa in it. Right? There's some physical benefit, but there's no shafa in it. Shafa is different than physical aspects of it. There's no cure in it, right? So, but Islam comes as be just. No one can come to Allah the day of judgment. Why you didn't see that there's some benefit in it? So I said that, but it's more harmful. As today, last year, as I told you, Oxford published an article that says even a small sip of alcohol is harmful for your body. 2018 data, right? So, when it comes to the topic of having more than one wife, the sweet topic of that's a good topic. Your wife is not here, right? MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Surah Talaq. Some people says Islam says you can't do it. Alright, have you read everything or you just got some portions of the Quran and my other one or two wishes that you do it? Quran says, chapter 4, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. فَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَنْ لَا تَعْدِلُوا فَوَاحِدَةً أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ ذَلِكَ أَدْنَىٰ أَنْ لَا تَعُودُوا. If you fear you cannot treat so many equally, right? Only marry one of them. If you know you cannot observe justice, And then personal interpretation comes. Waka, my grandfather, yeah, 10. Okay. Then ayah comes and says, وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعُوا أَن تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ. You will not be able to observe justice among them. That's it. Sorry about that. I have to put this ayah Quran. There's some exception, there's some situation, but don't come and say, I am able to do it. No, you're not able to do it. It's so delicate, it's so difficult, or to be. But we have to keep it open as a law because sometimes it's needed. Sometimes it's part of the culture, sometimes they need to do it, right? At the time of Rasulullah, it's part of the social interactions with others. If they don't do it, they can establish a society. If he doesn't go get married with some people that mostly are older than himself, after Hazrat Khadija, the majority of wives of Rasulullah, they are above 50-something years old. So it looks like it's not for other reasons, it's for some political reasons. Otherwise, he will go get young people, young wives, not right, older ones. You see what I'm saying? So it's part of the social interactions of people. Right now, I have a friend in Africa, he was not even Muslim, he's a Christian. He says it's so common in Africa, maybe because of the population and stuff like that. So if you do, he said my father had 30 wives in different times. 80 kids in different times. Well, it can be because of situation, because of, it might be different. So what we have to see, Islam should see the different situation, right? But at the same time it says, if it's not that situation, then you don't need it, you can observe justice. Be careful. Don't enter this zone. Don't enter this zone. Don't just go based on lust and shahawat that I want it, because you fall into a very dangerous trap that you might hurt yourself and your iman, and you have haqq nas as well. You see what I'm saying? But as a rule, it should be open. Sometimes group of Muslims, they go to the war, 100% they go to the war, 20% come back. Imagine, for example, 20% of men, they come back. Who's going to be responsible for 80% of the women in the society? No, sisters, you have to only have taqwa for the sake of Allah, control yourself. This is not justice. You see what I'm saying? Islam as a social, lifestyle for us should be good for all these aspects that tell us if something happened, you need to. Many of these rules that we have in Islam is for some exceptions that happens, right? I don't want to go into more details, but is what is about the justice that you have to observe. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Almost every page, maybe 1 out of 10 ayah of Quran, you find something about justice. This is talking about justice. Observe what it says. So far we talk mostly about what the individual aspects of justice that I have to observe. This is something, brothers and sisters, that every day we have to assess. Every day you talk to someone, assess it. Was it based on justice or not? Was it okay? I talked to my spouse this way, I talked to my parents this way, I talked to my friends this way. Was it okay that, could I do more? I helped that brother in the society, but could I help you more? Could I do more for her, for example? Keep evaluating the justice, because sometimes personal interpretation and shaitan comes, I will change that. I will say, I'm going out, I'm working every day, 3-4 hours being in the traffic. Of course my wife doesn't have any rights. What is she doing in the house taking care of children, for example, right? It can be my own interpretation because I got into that situation. But is it really? Believe me, if you change your responsibility, one day you stay home and you take care of children, then you say, that's enough. I don't want to do it again. How difficult it is. Therefore, we have to keep evaluating what we say is so important. The second pillar of Islam is based on justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have to practice that ourselves as well. Therefore, you can use different terms. Life in balance, observing justice, not violating others' rights. Anyhow, if you had any personal tension with your family, friends, I keep saying, back in the country, we had the land, we had the house, it's inheritance, Who said inheritance? One of you guys said inheritance, right? What you said? Inheritance between my brothers and sisters. Then it says, no, I want the one who took it. This is the time right now, go evaluate it again. Did you observe justice? Yes, the court gave you the right. But in the courts of Allah, who gave you the right or not? Because of 10 square feet more or what? We don't have time to listen.
Keep it for the next session. Keep it for the next session. I have a question.
So next time you must not talk.
Go ahead.
So I need to get an example other than Prophet and Imam. Is there any person in this world we can see and we can say this is the just person?
Very good question. Immaculate people, they are in the peakest version of justice. They observe justice as much as possible for a human being. Okay? In the best level. No one can be at that level at all. Because they're immaculate, they're away from any khata and mistakes. Other people can be representative of justice in different sections of their lives. For example, one person in the political aspects would be a good, just ruler. But go home, maybe he is very bad. Financially, he might not be okay, right? If you're looking at someone at the level of Ahlul Bayt, no. Because people make mistakes.
So being human being is not an achievable goal for us.
It's about practicing. The closer you get to that level, the better you are. That's about this, right? You want to live in a comfortable life, okay? You might look at someone just, mashallah, I want to be like them, but it's just, I'm comfortable now as well. You are a just person as who you are today, but that's not complete. You have to keep practicing to become better and better. That's why we call it kamal, salvation. Salvation. You are a kind person, but not at the ultimate level. You have to practice, or myself, you have to practice to be better and better, right? So that's the ultimate level that we can do, and we can be as a human being, but because we're not immaculate, we can't be at that level. But the closer we get to that level, the better we are.
The trying should be enough. Because even at
Trying to get to somewhere.
try to be just whatever you can do, that should be enough. Because, for example, if in a home there's a mother, father, sister, brother, wife, children.
We'll continue this topic, in the details, yes. In the details we talk about, like, what is the best version for us to observe the justice in the family and social interactions, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammadin wa ajjal farajahum. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, hasten in the door of our Imam Mahdi. Give us tawfiq to observe justice in our daily life. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, give us tawfiq to be able to observe justice in the society and interactions with people as well. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, help our youth, make them successful in dunya wal akhirah. Ya Allah, those who are sick, heal them all at this moment. Those who passed away, send the thawaab and the barakah of this majlis to their soul. Rahimallahu man yaqra'u al-Fatihata ma'a as-salawat.
Very individual.
Inshallah, we'll continue the same topic.
الملائكة يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله رسول الله أشهد أن أمين المؤمنين علي ولي الله أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين علي حجة الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله
Please move करिए राइट की तरफ. Please move to the. अभी एक दो साल है मेरे.
नहीं आपको भी 10 साल है
يا الله
Yes.
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله